Hi, boys and girls. We sure do miss you. Today I'm going to talk to you about the resurrection eggs. We know last Sunday was Palm Sunday, and this coming Sunday will be Easter Sunday. So I thought I would do it in the middle of the two Sundays. We know that Jesus told his disciples to go and get him a donkey to ride on. And donkeys in Jesus' time were meant for the rich and the famous. They always rode on a donkey. So we open up our first egg and we have the little donkey to remind us of Jesus riding on his back. All the people put their cloaks on the ground and they put it on the donkey for Jesus to ride on, and they waved the palm leaves like we had last Sunday. After he got in there and got to town and everybody loved him and enjoyed it, one of Jesus' disciples named Judas went and he told the guys, he said, I can take you to Jesus. I know which one he is. What will you give me for doing that? And they paid him with silver coins like this. And so Judas betrayed Jesus. He took them up there and showed them which one was Jesus. While Jesus was in the room, he was praying with all the disciples, and they were having the Last Supper. He would break the bread and tell them to eat, and then they would share the wine at the Last Supper. So we have a cup to remind us of the Last Supper. This is what we use for communion. After the Last Supper, Jesus told the disciples that he needed to go pray in the garden. So while he was up there, they were supposed to be watching. He was praying to God to help him through this, because Jesus knew what was getting ready to happen. So he was praying. And while he was praying, the disciples waited on him at the bottom. The soldiers came and they took Jesus away, and they whipped him with a whip like this. And they laughed at him and they made fun of him, and they put him in jail. Then Peter told Jesus he would never ever deny him. He wouldn't say he didn't know him. And Jesus said, yes, you will. By the time the rooster crows 3 times, you will tell anybody listening that you do not know who I am. So here's the rooster to remind us of what Peter did, that he did deny Jesus 3 times. And Peter got very upset, and he ran off when he heard the rooster crow, because he knew exactly what he had done. The soldiers took Jesus and they stripped him and put on a red robe. They made a crown of thorns and they put it on Jesus's head, and they made fun of him and they bowed down and they laughed and told him he wasn't the king. After they took Jesus and they nailed him to the cross, and these are our nails to remind us, they're in the form of a cross, to remind us what Jesus did for us, that he took our sins away, and they nailed him to the cross. The soldiers came to the cross to make sure that Jesus had died. They took a spear that looked like this, and they stabbed him in the side with it to see if he was still alive. But only blood and water came out, and they knew that Jesus had died on the cross. A man came. He was a very rich man, and he asked if he could take Jesus' body and put it in his tomb that he had just carved out. So he took it and he wrapped Jesus up in linen cloth and put him in the tomb. he took a big stone and rolled it in front of the tomb so that nobody could go in there and steal Jesus's body and take it away. So that is to remind us of the stone that they rolled in front of it. Then, on Easter Sunday, the women went to the stone to see Jesus. And when they got there, the stone had rolled away, and there was no one there but the angels. And they asked them, "Why do you look here for someone who is alive?" They said, "Go. You can tell everyone that Jesus is alive." So we open up our last egg, and we find that it is empty, just like the tomb, because Jesus lives. Happy Easter. Bye, guys.